Good morning, Magic. I'm Gavin Verhey from Wizards of the Coast, and today I'd like to talk with you about Urza Saga. No, not the set, the card Urza Saga. We showed off this card last week on the weekly MTG stream as a little preview for Modern Horizons 2, which, by the way, previews begin in earnest later this month on May 24th. Now, this card is just a delight, and there's a ton going on with it. So today I thought I'd walk you through it and tell you some of the Easter eggs about this card. Ready? Let's go. Urza Saga is just a chef's kiss of design. I mean, really, it's perfect. In fact, I said that 2 years ago when I saw the card for the first time. It's really, really awesome and ties into a lot of the flavor and story around Urza and has art that even matches to boot. Let's take a look at the card. First, and perhaps most obviously, it's named after the set Urza Saga, the beginning of perhaps the most broken block in all of Magic history. It is an enchanted land, which is the first of its kind in all of Magic. Well, unless you count the card I made, Enchanted Prairie, for the Mystery Booster playtest cards. Now, it's that subtype line, Urza's Saga, that really clues you in this is probably going to be one of the strangest cards you have ever seen. Urza's is a land subtype. It shows up on Urza's Tower, Urza's Mine, and Urza's Power Plant. And if you're feeling really decadent, Urza's Factory, although it has no actual mechanical relevance there. Saga is an enchantment subtype. We saw these first in Dominaria, and then they've shown up in a few other sets afterward. Mash these two cards together, and you'll get one of the weirdest cards you've ever seen. A card that takes up your land drop and plays out like a saga. Now let's go look at the 3 chapters of that saga. First of all, Urza Saga gains the ability to make colorless mana. One, it just makes sense, it's a land, sure. But second, Urza is of course known for casting lots of artifacts and colorless cards. From Antiquities all the way to Urza Block, Urza is known for his artifacts. So making colorless mana is exactly the right kind of mana to make. Moving on to the second chapter, you'll see that it gains an ability to make a construct token. This is the same construct token that Urza makes from Modern Horizons 1, and also the same construct that Karn makes from Dominaria. And then you get to that third chapter, where you search your library for an artifact that costs 0 or 1 and put it directly onto the battlefield. Urza Block was known for both cheating things out, hello Tinker, and was also known for all kinds of powerful broken artifacts, so this fits right on theme. Now, I've gotten a bunch of questions as to why this says mana cost. I mean, didn't we just introduce mana value in Strixhaven? Mana cost and mana value are different. Mana value is what used to be known as converted mana cost, where you look at the total converted mana of the spell, and that's what it costs. Mana cost is much more literal. It needs to cost 0 or 1. So the big functional difference here, for example, is you can't find a card like Lotus Bloom. If it was mana value, you could, because its mana value is 0. But with mana cost, its mana cost is literally not 0. Its mana cost is null. So that's the difference there. This, by the way, is not new technology. We've used it in the past too on cards like Ice Cave. Although I realize that for most of you, Ice Cave is probably a new card you've never seen. Looking at the whole package, one little thing that I find amusing is that Urza Saga the set was designed as an enchantment block. Of course, it's only known now for its broken artifacts. Well, this card is an enchantment land, which has abilities that only deal with artifacts, so that's pretty funny to me. A big hats off to Allison Steele for coming up with this card design idea originally, and of course to the Modern Horizons 2 design team for getting it to print. But it's not just about the card mechanics. An integral part of this card is the artwork, which Titus Lunter absolutely knocked out of the park. Speaking of artwork, I want to call out there's both the normal version of the card with the regular art, and also the sketch version of the card. For Modern Horizons 2, we actually worked with our artists to get their sketches in and then put them on cards in the set, and gave them a brand new sketch frame to boot. So you'll find that on a smorgasbord of cards throughout Modern Horizons 2. Now let's take a closer look at that incredible artwork. So one of the things about sagas is they are in-world renditions of whatever is being shown off here. So in this case, it's a book. And there are 3 different layers to it. It's a palimpsest style where one thing is written on top of another thing, which is written on top of another thing. You can see 3 different stages of Urza's life laid out. The oldest layer here is meant to be from bin-kroog, Urza's wife before he became a planeswalker, and it's part of a poem that she wrote. Because it's the oldest layer, it is quite faded, but you can still see hints of it coming through. The second layer is written by Urza himself, which is all kinds of frantic calculations and writings as he's trying to fight against the Phyrexians. And if you'll take a look, you'll notice that that writing looks a lot different than the more ornate writing of Caleb bin-kroog. The final layer is done by Baron, who was the headmaster of the Tolarian Academy after Urza left. It both depicts Urza in his prime as a planeswalker and also blacks out some of the notes Urza left, because Baron thought they were just maybe a little bit too wild. And then to top it all off, there are all kinds of Easter eggs and references hidden in the artwork, with the symbology and just things depicted. For example, there is the weatherlight in the bottom right-hand corner. What else do you find? Let me know in the comments down below. Congratulations to Titus Lenter on this incredible piece, which I'm sure was very painstaking to put together. And also, great work by Cynthia Shepard, who wrote the art description for this piece. We don't talk a lot about the people who write the art descriptions, but they are crucial to bringing the card to life. And Cynthia wrote an incredible and quite lengthy one for Titus to look at. Urza Saga is just one of the many wild magic cards you'll find in Modern Horizons 2. We showed off some of the others on stream last week, so be sure to go and check those out, and then come back on May 24th as previews begin in earnest. You will not want to miss it. In the meantime, though, I'd love for you to comment down below with what you think about Urza Saga, as well as what references you found. I'm very curious which ones you all picked up on. I'll talk with you again soon. And in the meantime, may you find an enchantment land. You got this. Arcane Signet quickly became the talk of the Brawl pre-constructed decks. In fact, not only were not enough of the decks made, but you really couldn't find them anywhere because every Commander player was trying to buy them to get their hands on Arcane Signet. So as it was becoming the hottest card externally, internally, we knew we needed to get it into as many products as possible. It's important to me